Matthew, are you there? Matthew.
Can we talk to Matthew in, what is it, Adelaide?
Yes. I don't know what state that's in.
Hey,
Hello,
hey, is that Matthew?
Oh, wow, nice to be on.
Okay.
Okay. Where is Adelaide?
Adelaide's in South Australia, so
okay.
Between Perth and Sydney on the east coast, we're in the south central. North.
Okay.
Well,
g'day.
G'day.
Very thorough.
As you guys know, Matt, we had Aaron, Matt, and Seth recently travelled to Australia and New Zealand.
Yep.
And look, obviously I missed them a bit. It was disappointing. They kind of went right over my overhead. Aaron and Matt went to Perth, so we missed them a bit. But really appreciate what you guys do, and you're it's awesome. I just wanted to thank you in that before I kind of share my situation.
Okay.
I guess it's just we are more of a secular country in some ways, but we have pockets of just, I guess things where just I guess I call them like baffle zones, just where things just baffle the bits. And I just wanted to kind of I guess figure out a bit more about what I was believing for years. I'm a previous Christian, and it's just one of those. I was part of what I consider now a cult. It was an ex-Pentecostal leader.
Oh, yeah. Did you speak in tongues or anything?
I did. Well, it was at one stage, about 13, 14 years of age, I just had a crack at it, thinking that I was thinking I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
And
in your defense, I would say you knew what you were doing just as much as anybody else who was speaking in tongues.
Yeah, exactly. I think when I was the dangers of it was they always looked at every other religion, even in Christianity religion, and probably more even internally, just questioning it like as if we're not part of the rest of the Christians.
Sure, that's not uncommon.
And that's something that
we're special snowflakes.
Yeah.
And I actually left the church, and even my dad had ups and downs with challenges. And I guess it was almost like we were always a struggling Christian. And a lot of people, the dangers I think of religion in general, and especially what I was going through with Christianity, was just that it's almost so unnatural to the human element, and it's just the way we operate. And it's just something that I guess is just free to say, because it's not something that you can almost scared to say, because it's you're seen as a heathen or a horrible person because you want to go with what you want to do. And I'm not saying illegally or hurt other people.
No, I understand.
Just the natural way we operate as humans.
Yes.
And the way we kind of process and get to figure out ourselves. I want to talk to you, especially. It's awesome to speak to you two guys. You guys, Tracie, you're just so awesome. And Russell, look, I just want to. You personally, mate, have been really, some of the stuff you said has just really hit home to me, and
stop it.
It makes sense to me. But Tracie, when I think about some of the stuff you've talked about in particular, and I just think about, and I feel for a lot of teenagers that go through just dealing with that. And I just wanted to ask you, when people still say it's just a process of relationships, and just why the people use God as a love thing, a love connection, or is it something that is a emotional tool, or is that something do you think that was generally something from the past?
No, I think religion uses emotion very heavy-handedly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
think I've done some reading about cult tactics. I mean, you mentioned that you thought it was similar to a cult, and like the line between a mainstream religion and a cult is something that I've sometimes been a little fuzzy on what the real difference
Everybody is.
But one of the things that cults do, and this has been like studied by people who are trying to mitigate their harm, is they engage in a tactic called love bombing, which is where they basically say that you are part of this group now and we love you unconditionally, and nobody else out in the world outside this cult is ever going to love you the way we do. So, I mean, it's it serves as a way to simultaneously give people good, happy feelings about the people in their cult.
It was like we never read the Bible much. So it was just judging each other and questioning each other, and there was a lot of judgment in the church. We actually started crazy. The church ended up stopping communion, stopping sermons, stopping and worship, and we just sit in meetings at each other's houses and just talk about each other and judge each other and question each other.
Wow.
It went nuts. It was nuts. And when I went back to another church, I was introduced to a church from a mate I was playing tennis with here in Adelaide, and I went to his church, and it was, for lack of a better word, a normal church. It was one of those more, dancing music, the drums beat. It was the youthful. Yeah, they started reading the Bible, quotes of the Bible, and it just hit me. And I started to see, well, you're all kind of you can't even figure out amongst yourselves what kind of religion. But my mate said to me, it was an interesting thought. I wanted to kind of pass you this one. No, all the religions are wrong. It's God. Religion is man-made, and God never wanted religion. And so this guy uses the Bible and uses religion to oppose religion. Can you get that one around your head? I don't understand that. That's kind of, I don't get that. My football team's the best football team, and the other football teams don't know really how to play football in this competition. So people thinking like that.
I think the word you're looking for is tribalism.
Tribalism, but it's not even. But
no.
He's not relating.
Usually, when I see that, normally they're not using the Bible to endorse it. Like, usually what you'll have is a person who has given up on religion altogether and yet still is adhering to theism. It's rare to see somebody that's adhering to a particular holy book saying that religion itself is wrong. But
Yeah,
I have seen people who don't subscribe to any sort of organized religion, who just have their own concepts of, theistic God. It's funny because there's actually a study in the UK that found higher rates of correlating mental illness among people who were spiritual but not religious. So and they were statistically significant numbers. So it was kind of an interesting thing. They didn't really go into, the study didn't talk about the causation, but it was just kind of a funny thing that, I wonder why.
Can you also help me out with one other thing? I guess it's just I hear from afar, listening to people that don't believe in the evolution and some of the things that just are facts and, just genuine scientific facts right under our nose. And I thought, no, my mates wouldn't be like that. I thought they'd be like Christians that would. So when we discussed it, I don't believe in evolution at a macro level, and they all go through all the things that they actually believe all the stuff that's all the woo and all the crap. And he says he's rational. Do they choose not to look because it's right there? You can actually read it. Is it that indoctrinated?
Yeah. Did you hear the first caller that we talked to about cosmology? Yeah. Right? He's calling us asking about why we don't believe the evidence. And it's like, well, have you ever talked to somebody who actually deals in the evidence? Because if you did, then we'd be asking you why you believe this despite the evidence supporting it. So when you talk about the idea of when they're rejecting these realities and when they're rejecting all of the current evidence, yes, they don't really know it. They haven't really gone and looked at it because they don't want to. They go and they look at these apologetic versions of it, right? They're looking at the apologetic response to the evidence and considering that looking at the evidence. They don't really go to the person who...
So it's a presupposed idea.
Yeah, you're basically just looking at the person who's criticizing its arguments, and you're not ever going to the person who's promoting it and asking them, will you tell me what the real deal is with this evidence?
And my last question on this is just in regards to the power of just the deception. I have a buddy of mine that's doing, we've got a big festival that's happening in Adelaide, and he's a mentalist. And there was a big thing, just even literally overnight, there was Australia and India in a cricket match, and the host, the channel, had a guy that was doing a promotion within the promotion. He was a mentalist, and he predicted the score of the game and everything. And the people like us, get on the blogs and say, well, dude, make some money out of that, and mentalists. And you've got people that are real normal, smart people that host the shows and journalists and stuff that make it, believe it. And I think we're all like kids that still want to believe in fairies sometimes. And I just think No. It's a trick. My dad was into magic and hypnosis and stuff, but really understood that it was a magic and it's all playing with your mind. And how much, again, is that stuff the religion use just the frailty and the easy deception of our minds? Is that something do you think that... that
most of it?
Adults?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a certain amount of...
I just wanted to kind of discuss that.
Everybody's got a certain amount of superstition, and, the best thing you can do is be aware of it and try to counteract it. But, I mean, there are these situations where, like, gamblers will take this completely random event, like they won a big jackpot or something, and they were like, well, I was wearing this shirt, so the shirt is going to do it. If I just wear this shirt all the time, then I'll win more. And... people come up with it is superstition. There are psychological experiments that have even demonstrated in pigeons where they dispensed food at random and the pigeons would develop these weird tics or quirks, like running around in circles and flapping one wing or something like that. It's a normal quirk of people's brains, and maybe it's just a happy accident for religious organizations that they can tap into that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think absolutely that's what they do.
Anyway.
That's what I think. That's what how now as a person where in most things now I just want to be always skeptic and just have a almost go almost extreme the other way in a way just to... I guess if for nothing else, just to say, don't want to be a gullible fool.
Yeah. Alrighty. So we're going to move on. We got
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
Cheers.
We got